Hey, it's Jeremy Mura here. I'm going to be showing you a quick tutorial and walkthrough on how to use the Chalk and Charcoal brush pack. First up, what we're going to show you is how to use the folder. So you can see you get 3 folders within the product when you open it up. So you'll see first you'll get your bonus textures. You can just double click on that, double click in there, and you'll get these TIFF textures which you can just drag and drop into Illustrator. And you can see it's got all the detail there, and you can actually just change the colors really easy. You can make clipping masks with them and do all sorts of cool stuff with those grungy textures. So that's pretty awesome. We've got that. Now I'm going to get back to the folder. You'll see you get your instructions down here as well. So you double click on those and you'll see you get all the PDF files. You can just double click on that and it should open up as a PDF. And you can see you can zoom in and zoom out and read the instructions in case you get lost. So you got that. And you can always just email me at hello@jeremymura.com if you have any issues or problems. So that's pretty cool. We got some tips, reference sheet, and some font links there for you. And then we got our brushes. You can double click there. You'll see you get 4 files. Thin brushes, thick brushes, the scribbled brushes, and the pattern brushes as well. And we can just load those in. Don't double click it. We're actually going to go into Illustrator now and load those in. So go to Window in the top left hand corner, click that, and go all the way to the bottom. You'll see Brush Libraries. So what we're going to do now is go Other Library, click that, go locate where the folder is. So mine's on the desktop, and then I'll just double click on the folder, go to my brushes, and then you can pick the ones you want to load in. So I've already loaded in the thin brushes and thick brushes. I'm just going to go double click the scribbled brushes, and that will bring up a brush panel like this. And you can see you can just start going ahead and using the brushes. You can also drag this into the tabs like this, and you can have them like that, or you can always drag them out and separate them if you want, which is pretty sweet. You can also just drag this up, which is pretty awesome. So we've got that. And what it's good to open up as well is the window and go to brushes. So you'll see this is your default brush panel, and whatever brush you click, you can see how it adds it to the brush panel. So what you want to do is you want to select this little drop down menu and go select all unused and click the little bin down the bottom here and press delete. And it's going to delete all those brushes. So if you have default brushes from Illustrator, you can just delete it and wipe it. And now you can see every time you use a brush, it's going to add it into there. And you can actually double click on the brushes there and play around with it. So you can go to pressure or add this stuff, but it doesn't really work for art brushes. It's better for calligraphic brushes. So that's why I didn't do that. And you can edit the method and the color and all that stuff. You can flip it, all that cool stuff if you want. So you can just do it like that. Now I'm just going to go ahead and start using these brushes real quick. So I'm going to use my thin brushes first. It's really great. These ones are really awesome for like illustrations and character design and cool stuff. So I'm going to use my Wacom tablet, and you can see just by clicking on these brushes, you can get some nice effects. And you can also change the stroke width as well. You just go to the top and you can click on these ones. I usually like to go 0.5 is nice. And you can press B for the brush tool, or you can use a pen tool or the pencil tool or the line tool. I'm just going to change the color of the stroke. So you can change the colors of the stroke as well, which is really handy. And you can see I'm just going through here. Just doing it really rough. Obviously there's better character designers and illustrators than me, but you know, it's great to get some practice down, and it's good fun for those who like doing characters. So you can just play around with the brushes, get some different effects. You got some thicker brushes. You got your charcoal brushes at the top here, and you've got more chalky, which is more like that. You can see it's got some more gritty details, which is pretty nice. So you can just play around, get some weird effects. The best thing is just to experiment. So I'm going to zoom out, and you can see we've got a half done character there, but you get the point. If you play around, you get some cool effects. So you got some cool chalky ones as well here. The good thing is about these, you can just select the stroke, and you can actually just change the stroke. You can go up and down. You can also use the stroke panel. As you can see over here, got my stroke panel here, and you can play around. You can round off the corners and do the weight here, or you can do it from the top left-hand corner up here. So you can just change it. I avoid trying to go above 2 points or 3 points. It starts stretching it out too much. So try and stick between less than 3 points. And you can see you can just go ahead. And I'll turn off the edges so you guys can see. And you can just start selecting different brushes and see the effects of it. So you can see it all has different effects to play around with. So that's awesome. So those are the line brush, thin line brushes to play around with. Next, I'm going to show you some other brushes. So that's the thin brushes. You've also got the scribbled brushes and thick brushes. And I'll also quickly load in the pattern brushes as well to show you that. So load that in. The pattern brushes are great because you can actually make any stroke and line. And if I select that now, you can see how it doesn't stretch. It repeats the actual stroke of the brush. And you get some cool ones here that you can actually use. So they're pretty nice. They're pretty good for like borders and stuff. So you can add it to shapes. You can see how you get a cool scribbled look with that, which is pretty awesome. So that's pretty cool with the pattern brushes. You can also use it on type as well. With type, what you want to do, you want to open and go to outlines. So you want to go to type and go create outlines, or you can just go object and expand as well. You can do that. And what I usually do, you can see how the shapes there, and we can actually align this with the Pathfinder tool. So click unite, and you can see how it's all one shape now. And what I like to do is actually add a stroke to it. So click that, and you can see it adds a stroke to type. So it's pretty handy. And the cool thing about these brushes as well, you can actually make clipping masks with them. So you can put the brushes within a specific shape. So you can see now I'm just playing around with these brushes. I'll use the scribbled brushes as well. The thick brushes are great for more textured work, and you can see you can get this nice texture on your type. So it's great for lettering, hand lettering, if you want to add some dynamic to it. And you can play around with all these points. You can even go customize and go 0.4 point or 0.1 point as well. And you can see it goes really thin. So just experiment, play around. I love the scribbled brushes. They're really fun. You get some cool effects on your type. So those are those brushes. And finally, the thick brushes as mainly. You've also got so finally you've got the thick brushes. You got some nice chalk and charcoal ones, as well as some smudged ones in the middle here, which is great for texturing work. So you can see you got the background, and what you can do, you can actually use the pen tool, and you can just create lines if you want on the shapes, or use the brush tool as well to create a stroke. And I'll just lock the background. And the cool thing about these is you can actually change the colors, and you can just press the eyedropper tool by pressing I and select any color for that stroke. And make sure it's on the stroke, and then I'm going to use some texturing here. And I'm going to change the color purple in the swatch panel, and you can see you can start getting these cool textures. You can play around if you want some subtle textures. Obviously try and put this on a different layer so it doesn't interfere. And with these thick textures, because they're thicker, you can actually bump it up more as well. Don't be afraid to bump that up. So you can see we're getting some cool textures here. You can even use it on the background as well. So maybe I'm going to create a circle. And what I like to do is actually I like to get the transparency and blending modes up. So go to window, go to transparency, and we can actually just play around with these blending modes. I like multiplying color dodge. And we'll select another color. We'll select a brush here. So you can see you can play around and get some nice effects. That looks kind of nice. Color dodge is good. Overlay and multiply is good as well. So you can see I'm just playing around, and then I'll put the fill to purple as well. And you can actually just make copies of that. Copy of it. Control C, Control F. We'll go multiply on that one. And you can see just get some really cool textures, which is pretty sweet. Make sure you don't go too crazy with it. But you can see just by playing around and experimenting for a few minutes, you can come up with really cool stuff. So we've got all that, nice for a background. And what we can actually do, you can use these brushes and put it on a clipping mask. So I'm going to create a box, press M for the rectangle tool. I'm going to drag this box over our little character guy. And then just change the color so we can see it. And I'm going to press Control Y to go to outline mode. I'm going to select our brushes on those paths. And then I'm going to get out of it. And make sure you select the outside box and press Control 7. Or you can actually go Object, Clipping Mask, and Make. And what's it going to do is going to make a clipping mask and just keep the brushes within that shape. So you can see that it confines it. And then I'm going to bring this to the back. And now we've got a guy with a cute little background. So you can see all these textures here. You don't have to leave it outside. You can actually make a clipping mask, create a copy of each shape or part of the character design or logo design or illustration, whatever it is. And you can put those in the clipping mask so it doesn't hang out of there. So it's really nice for adding some nice texturing. You can even do, shading as well, as you can see we've done here, which is pretty awesome. But yeah, the best thing to do is just play around and get some really cool effects. But yeah, thanks for watching, guys. I hope this product is great and you love using it and you enjoy it. Let me know if there are any issues. And yeah, I look forward to creating more products for you guys.